welcome to Take a Poll, Tap 27 ahead of the Dublin Racing Festival at Leopardstown this weekend. The best 2 days of jump racing you're going to see anywhere on the planet. My name is Hugh. Andy and Dec have very kindly asked me to step in and present the podcast this weekend. Lads, you don't know what you're getting yourselves in for here. You're flying it. Why have you got me into too many listeners? Is it, Dec? Is it too many listeners?
Too many, yeah. We want to do a few less. Get our family lives back.
Right. Andy, looking forward to this, mate. Two of the best days you're going to see anywhere. And I include Cheltenham in that in terms of the quality that we have at Leopardstown this weekend.
Oh, absolutely. And very much appreciate you coming on here, Hugh. You're very welcome. Absolutely fantastic weekend's racing. Can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, can't wait, lads. And look, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure being on. A long-time listener, so big fan of what you're doing. Willie Mullins has 28.5% of the total entries this weekend. So my tip and advice is just follow Willie. Any one of the 5 he has in each race, just pick one and she'll see how we go after that. How's that for betting advice?
Yeah, you're picking the longest odds one or the shortest one?
Listen, we'll see as we go. You know me and the short prices, Dec. I can't resist. Before we start, lads, just want to say congratulations to Hugh Cahill. I'm told no relation to Declan, although it is his uncle, and he's won 2 tickets to Leopardstown on Sunday. So, Hugh Cahill, congratulations. You're off to Leopardstown on Sunday. I'll be there myself with the RT team there, the lads, I'm sure, as well. So, congratulations to you. Off to Leopardstown this weekend. And look, we're very much looking forward to it. We'll get straight in, lads. We have a lot of racing to cover. We're going to start with the Saturday, and this is the Saturday podcast. So, we'll start with the Nathaniel AC and Partners Solicitors Novice Hurdle, Grade 1. It's 2 miles and 6. Goodland won this last year, and we know he ran a cracker in the Ballymore after at Cheltenham. So look, we'll see what happens here. Predator's Gold at the time of recording, lads, is a short price favourite, 6 lengths behind Caldwell Potter, which is pretty decent form over Christmas at Leopardstown, Andy. But that was over 2 miles here. He's stepping up in trips. How do you see this going here? With a short price fab, how do you see your angle is this one?
Yeah, Predator's Gold, he did look like a step up in trip would suit him. My only worry would be coming from Christmas time, that race over 2 miles, especially for the novices, it was borderline unraceable ground on the 27th after that deluge of rain that kind of swamped the track and the surrounding areas. Not many horses probably ran to form that day, but Predator's Gold did run a perfectly fine race. Obviously won the Land Rover bumper at the end of last season, made a nice start to hurdles and followed up with an excellent run in Grade 1 company. 13-8. Look, I can see why he's favourite. The Grade 1 form is there. It's in the book. Christmas time at Leopardstown is usually a good reference point for coming into this meeting as well. I think there's 4 winners from last year, I think, ran at the Christmas period at Leopardstown. So it is definitely a good reference. And Gaillard de Menil and Goodland, also winners of this race, won maiden hurdles at Leopardstown at Christmas time prior to winning this race. So it is a good reference point. I would just have my reservations though. There's no pace on, and that's not unfamiliar for this race as well. Manella Cocooner won this race from the front in a dawdle, and I would love to see who Danny Mullins is going to ride in this race, because I just don't see very much pace on here, and he's one that can usually make the run on a Willie Mullins outsider, as he did with Manella Cocooner. I would like Dancing City. I would love Danny Mullins to ride him and ride him from the front. I think he's a very nice horse. He split Ballyburn and Slade Steel in a bumper at Punchestown last season. Friendless on his hurdling debut and ran accordingly, but then followed up in nice fashion then at Navan. Looks a real stare, and for me he's around 20-25 to 1 thereabouts. Yeah. I'd take a chance on him each way. I'd love to see him out in front under Danny Mullins to make all. Now obviously we're recording without jockey bookings at the moment, but I would love to see Danny Mullins on him, and I'd love to see him have a go from the front in this.
We're recording on Wednesday night, and if Danny does get jocked up as well, the prize might contract slightly. So 20 to 1 thereabouts, as Andy was saying, Dec. And look, we don't want to pigeonhole Danny into being this front running jockey, but he is particularly good. And you know, it's no harm to say that he's particularly good at judging a pace from the front when he gets the right ride.
He's very good at slowing it as well. You know, it's not just judging the pace. He can put the brakes on, he can stack them up, he can kick again, like we've seen him do on Florian Porter at Cheltenham over the years. Like, you know, wasn't quite as effective at Cheltenham But like when he does it at the top of the hill and then rolls away from them, I think Danny's excellent. Everybody does. He's brilliant. He's a joy to watch, actually.
He is, and I think he just has that charm about him, doesn't he? Like, like Paul Townend is fantastic, and like Rachel, all that. Danny has something. I think the public just latch on to a Danny Mullins horse when he goes and does it like that. And he has something about him, definitely.
Yeah, he can talk as well, and he has curly hair, so.
Exactly, and anyone who tells Patrick Mullins to feck off on the inside, but he's going up inside, he has my vote as well. That's great. So, who are you siding with here, Dec?
I really like the mare Chitara. Obviously she's going to be getting £7. And look, she's plenty experience. She was a bumper winner at Easter in 2022. She won the listed bumper on Troytown Day then at Navan that November. She kind of lost her way after Cheltenham. It might have blown her brains a little bit, which you can do. I actually went cold on her then as well. But since she's won her maiden in November, she's looked like what she promised to be. She's beaten fields of her own sex really, really well. I'm not sure it was a listed race or a graded race the last
Grade
day.
3.
Grade 3, yeah. Like she's rated 142, which is the highest RPR in the field. That was Andy Riley told me last night. She's been given the opportunity to post a higher one. But I don't think this race is the deepest, and it's quite a small field from what we've seen over the last few years. Like Predator's Goal, I don't rate the race at Christmas at all. The grade 1, I'd actually be more interested in the horses who pulled up that day rather than the ones who are finishing and winning and coming second. So look,
that wasn't you in line to go in with your $2 million to buy Caldwell Potter now after that Gordon.
No. Well, they
Gordon
wanted they rang and said he wanted $2 million and another $3,000 if he wins. So I said absolutely no way.
And that's only Gordon's training fees for the year. So.
Look, I don't think this is the deepest, but I think she's a proper mare, and the fact she's coming here, like these are breeders. She has her black type. They think they can win a grade 1 with her, and I thought she was entered in the Ballymore. She's going over this trip. Where's she going to go? Will she drop back to 2 miles and go for the mares? I think she's plenty of speed as well, which is why I'm not worried if there's no pace on. She'd win a dash, but I just think she's better than this. She did lose her form, and I think a lot of people went cold on her, but just if you forgive her those few runs, particularly after Cheltenham, it can happen.
Absolutely.
I just think she's way better than this. I think she could just run away from them.
Yeah, and she's ready to sort. I think 92 Wednesday night we're recording here, and as I say, maybe a bit of value against the favourite. I don't have a strong opinion on this at all, lads. I know, like Willie said when Predator's Goal won at Punchestown over 2 miles 3, that like he was just delighted considering he didn't think he was in it 3 out, and then just did what he did. I don't have a strong opinion, but to be honest with you, I can see the case. If Danny gets jocked up on Dancing City, 20-1's a big price, and as I say, the rain with Jatara. So 2 against the favourite here, and I'm not going to go with the short price stats just to shock you. So
plenty of opportunities throughout the weekend.
I'm going to just save it for a little while. All right, we'll move on to the 150 then, which is the McCann Fitzgerald Spring Juvenile Hurdle. So 4-year-olds only need apply. It's another grade 1. Before I got into the radio game, lads, before I joined News Talk 98 FM, I worked for McCann Fitzgerald, right? I had this mad notion after watching A Few Good Men that I wanted to be a lawyer. So I went in and got a job with McCann Fitzgerald, and I very quickly realised I was way out of my depth. So he told me to sling my hook, and I went to work for Johnny Lyons and 98 FM after that. But look, 4-year-olds, juvenile, we're after seeing the Cheltenham trials at the weekend, and Nicky's horse, what he did was unbelievable. But look, this is obviously central to Ireland here. I'm just going to kick it off here slowly, Dec. I really like Caliconti here for Gordon Elliott. I was in Navan when he won a 3-horse race. There was no price at all. And maybe you could say, look, didn't do a huge amount, but disappointed when he was beaten by Joseph's horse at Ferryhouse the next time out. And then he flipped the form of that again at Leopardstown. And I think for the value here, Stormheart is a short price favourite, but Caliconti for me, at the price I like here in this. How do you see it?
Look, she did win that grade 2 here at Christmas, but she got £10 from Nürburgring that day, and I think Nürburgring is the best juvenile in Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, she got a lot of weight that day, and
Really,
what's
yeah.
she getting here? She's probably just getting the 7 here, Andy, is she?
Yeah, the normal allowance, yeah.
Look, she is a nice filly, but I don't think she'll have to win this. I think the performance Stormheart put in on New Year's Eve at Punchestown was, you know, it was frightening. The line of form through Jeannie Macaroni, he's beaten her 22 lengths or something. Eagles Rain was third in that race. He's followed up the other day. He's won a handicap. He's ran in some nice races. There's actually not entered here. I'm not sure if it's a filly or it's Fratas. Mick Mulvaney actually has won a nice race. All this form is linking up. It's linking up really, really well this season. But Stormheart was way clear of them on that line of form through Janie Macaroni. The rest of them are all in and around that. High Wind would be the next one I'd fancy here. He's beaten Jeannie Macaroni by 8 lengths. Other than that, I'm not sure. There's probably a few of these in here running for a mark as well, down to the Fred Winter. Owl's Parterre, I think I've got that one right. He'd be one I'd have for the Fred Winter. He was second to Calusan on debut. He's ran in 2 graded races since. He was absolutely buried at Christmas in the Grade 2, that Calaconti one. He ran on eye-catchingly enough, and I think he'd be buried here again and end up in the Fred Winter with a really good chance. So if you were to win a few bob this weekend, you could do worse than having an anti-post bet on him. But look, I just think Stormheart's going to be way too good for this, but I don't think he's as good as Nürburgring.
Okay, so yeah, that's 2 ahead. Just Calaconti, I'm prepared to give her a chance. I think there's a bit of improvement in her, to be honest with you. So I'll stick with her 11 to 2 the price each way. I think there's 13 entered as we stand here on Wednesday. Could cut up a little bit. How do you see this one going? Are you with Dec on the favourite?
Yeah, it's a race I'm probably not going to play on the day, Hugh. I find the juvenile races, especially with Willie Mullins getting a lot of French imports, and he keeps them for this race usually. It's very hard to read between the lines now. Obviously, we're treated this year with Salvador Mundi.
He could be still in Tony's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, having form with Sergino, and obviously that's very, very easy to see. But he's still a maiden over hurdles, and in the back of my mind, there's what Willie did with the likes of Alette Tomp. He could be a novice for next year, a lovely novice to go for something like this, the Supreme races like that way. So that is something that you would just have to keep in mind. Dec, you were mentioning about the Fred Winter Carafon as well. I think the handicapper could have a serious problem handicapping him. 2 runs in France. This is his Irish debut. He's had a few points coming in the market for him as well. He's around at 14 to 1 shot. I'm not even going to pretend I know much about the French form here, but so just do keep an eye on this, and you can always refer back to it. Calaconti, Hugh, I can see where you're coming from. She showed a lot of grit on her 3rd start for Elia, winning that Grade 2. But as Dec rightly said, she was getting good concessions that day from the likes of Nürburgring, but she is progressing as well at a fair rate. Stormheart, she was brilliant in fairness on her hurdles bow at Punchestown, beating Jeannie Macaroni by half the track. I think Eagles Rain was behind that day as well for Ross O'Sullivan. He won a handicap this week, and I know he found a bit of trouble in running. He was beaten 25, 26 lengths that day, but to give a bit of substance to form, he was able to win a handicap at least off 116. He's probably a 120 odd horse now. If you're beating a 120 odd horse by 20 plus lengths doing handstands, you're obviously a very good horse. The only thing is, obviously, you've Willie's horses that they're coming from France. They could be absolutely anything. It is a race that you could definitely see a shock in, but if there was a gun to my head, Hugh, I probably would be with the favourite here as well, Stormheart. But 5 to 4, it's very skimpy, and you are playing with a lot of variables that we wouldn't obviously, we'd be a little bit ignorant to it, probably, for lack of a better term.
No, absolutely, yeah. And so buyer beware here. But just while we're on this, lads, like Sergino, like, was that the standout juvenile performance so far? I mean, maybe I'm asking a stupid question here, but how impressed were both of you very quickly on what you saw Cheltenham there on Saturday?
Look, it was definitely impressive, but we've seen impressive performances here as well. I know he's going to beat Porter Road, but like, I think what Nürburgring, he was forced past the post against Woodoo. She hasn't been beaten since.
Yeah, and she won again the weekend. Yeah,
I think the Irish juveniles they're not being given the respect they deserve. And look, it was visually impressive by Sergino. But I think there's probably more depth in Ireland, and that's why we haven't. And there's always less hype in Ireland. We're a bit more down to earth, so we haven't just got overhyped and really blown away. But like Stormhart's performance, he won by 22 lengths. You know, if that was at Cheltenham, you know, in January, people would be raving about it. You know, but it's just I know it was only a maiden, but you know, I just think it's more competitive here this season, which it wasn't always with juveniles, but definitely we're getting more and more juveniles every year.
Yeah, not like the Brits to go absolutely bananas and get carried away now.
I was there on Saturday though, and he was brilliant. But the fourth horse, he's a proper horse as well. I think he's the one that is going to win the Fred Winter. Exhilarating, I think. Needs one more run, but he nearly ran into the fence, the white fence up the top. He full of running he was, so just keep an eye on him.
Don't talk to Jay Mangan about that last book. I tell you what, she has bad memories of that anyway. But
I'm always trying to defend her on Twitter for that one.
No, I do too. I just only when I'm with her company, I can talk about her behind her back. And she give me a smack.
My dad backed Oscar Delta that day. He was on the way down to the shop. My dad backed Oscar Delta that day.
You're joking.
Yeah, he was on the way down to the shop to collect his money.
Lovely, great. So he doesn't give a shit about.
I had to ring him and say she's after coming off.
No dinner in the Carroll house for Jane Mangan for the next 2 years. Anyway. No, listen. Okay, great stuff. Look, that's again. Look, buyer beware with that. But the lads have this. I'm going to stick with Conti, but look, we'll see how it goes. They say not a huge play for any of us. I don't think in that. You know, lads, when it came out that Gaelic Warrior was going to go for the Arkle, 225 in the card, the Goff's Irish Arkle here, and it looks like he will go for this. I mean, incredible race, just an incredible race. Like Marine Nationale, 2-1 on. Gaelic Warrior at the time of recording Wednesday night, 9-4. Fastly Vegas in there now. Fastly Vegas also in the 2.5 mile as well. Novice Chase, found the 50 Electric Tom. Incredible race. Like I tell you, Andy, like I tell you, straight up now. If you gave me a free bet now, I think I'd be Gaelic Warrior at 9-4. I know the jumping right concerns. I think this guy is an absolute weapon. Marine Nationale, I love as well. And fair play to Barry. He's an absolute right one here. But for me, Gaelic Warrior 9-4, I think would be my play. How do you see it?
Yeah, this could be the race of the week, and it's fantastic to get the two. Like Willie Mullins deserves a lot of credit for this. He could have easily said, you know, we could either go the 2 mile 5 route or we'll keep him right-handed for the moment. Like he deserves a lot of credit for this. Look, Marine Nationale 1-2. I think he's the same price for the Arkle at Cheltenham, which is absolutely, like, just shows you how in bits the anti-coast markets are. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's an awful. Look, I would be worried that your bet might end up in Foxrock Village, Hugh. That's my only worry with Gaelic Warrior.
Is it that bad, Eddie? Is his jumping that bad? And I went through his last going through some homework for this. And I went through his last. I don't think it's as bad as maybe it's been suggested. What you obviously think it is bad.
Look, he won the Liffey handicap last year off. I want to say 142. I think it was 142. He was top by 11-10, and he nearly ended up in the betting ring after the last hurdle. Like, he jumped it so right. I think he needs company at least on the front end. I think if he goes it alone, he could be really, really exaggerated out to his right. It's a pity that we haven't seen him go this way over fences yet. And maybe Willie's doing it as a sider. Like another, you know, in reference to maybe Cheltenham, the old course, this would be a much bigger problem on the old course than it would be on the new course. And that's why I thought, you know, Turner's all day long for him, but they're coming here to have a go. He definitely looks fast enough. That goes without saying in his 2 runs that we saw over fences, but he is up against the supreme novice hurdle winner, a horse that I thought was brilliant on his chasing debut. I saw the first time tongue tie and the wind up reports, and I saw him. He's 2-5. The deluge of rain on the 27th. I laid him, and I knew after 2 fences I took my money. So it was like
cash out.
And I wasn't able to. I would have been chasing badly, but. No, I think I'm not going to overthink this. I think Marine Nationale is the one they all have to beat over 2 miles, and until I see otherwise, I'm going to stick to that opinion. But as I said, Facile Vega probably going to the 2 mile 5 race. It tells you all you need to know what they think about Gaelic Warrior, and I'm really, really excited to see this. I'm looking forward to seeing them in the ring, taking in all the atmosphere. But for me, Hugh, it would be Marine Nationale until I see otherwise.
Okay, and I can totally understand that, and I guess the majority are probably with you, Andy. Right, Dec, my theory about Gaelic Warrior is that his tendency to jump out is not as pronounced over fences because he has to concentrate more. I think he's just a better jumper of a fence than he was over hurdles, and I don't think that tendency to jump out is as pronounced over a fence. That's why I'm sticking with him here. What do you think?
Look, I don't think it's as bad as it was over hurdles. He's also growing up a good bit. I thought his jumping was quite good in the Ballymore.
Yeah.
I didn't, I was expecting him to jump into the Arkle bar, but it was quite good. I thought he ran a cracker. The horse obviously has a massive engine, and I'm just wondering, while he's not slow, can he quicken off the fast pace? And I just think there's too many chinks in his armor to take on a horse like Marine Nationale over 2 miles. That was some performance in that ground. Like, that's the day I've never seen Leopardstown that bad. It was almost unraceable, and I've never seen it there. But he jumped impeccably. It was his chase debut. He made he done all the hard work and done it with such ease. I was so impressed with Marine Nationale. It just sticking out in my head, and I just don't know if Gaelic Warrior could live with him. He might go with him, but when he has to quicken again, Marine Nationale will quicken again. I don't think Gaelic Warrior will. And even if the jumping is just a little bit right, he'll be losing just too much ground against a horse like Marine Nationale. If Marine Nationale wasn't in the race, he'd be the 1 to 2 shot.
Name your distance, yeah.
Yeah, look, he was so impressive on his debut. He was so far ahead down the back. I was there, that punches down. I actually thought it was his the stablemate. I was thought it was his stablemate giving him something to aim at. And then as they came around, I was like, that's actually Gaelic Warrior. We were blown away. Like, I know the way you're thinking was in there in second. Good horses in behind him. But you'd want to be coming here with absolutely no flaws, no chinks in your armor. And unfortunately, he just does have some. And there's also the thing that, when I said Willie deserves credit, his hand has been forced. Facile Vega is stepping up and trip. He would be here if there was no chinks in his armor. So this is definitely plan B. And I just don't think he can go and beat a horse like Marine Nationale.
Is it plan B, or are they just trying to see how good he is over 2 miles? Like,
I absolutely think it's plan B. Facile Vega will be running here. They might tell you it's not plan B, but it definitely is. But I'm not one to ever go for job price favourites. I'm after putting 2 up in a row. I'll make up for it in the next race.
We're taking my job, Dec.
I just can't see past this horse. And I met Barry Connell after on the Tuesday night in Cheltenham last year. The way he spoke about him, I think he's a freak. I was standing beside Ruby Walsh when he was jumping around at Leopardstown, and Ruby said, "Holy shit, this lad is the real deal." So yeah, Ruby's not the worst judge in the world. I do his notes for him, Hugh.
Huh?
I do his notes for him.
Yeah, and I do your notes for him. And you pass on. Also up, lads. But look, okay, I can totally see the case. And it's so unlike me. Do you know what it is with me? Like, Altior fell into this bracket as well. It just took me so long to come around to Altior. Maybe it's the same with Shishkin. Like, and by the time I did, it was nearly too late. Like, it's just and Marine Nationale. Like, last year, I backed Facile Vega in the Supreme last year, and I think he's brilliant. I think I'm just going to give Gaelic Warrior a chance. I'll give him a chance, and look, we'll see what happens. But I can totally see why the two of you are so going home Marine Nationale. It's a cracking race, lads. I can't wait for it. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. Okay, that's the Irish Arkle then at 2:25 on the card. Next up, we have the Racing State Leopardstown Handicap Hurdle. So look, lads, I'll bow to your knowledge on this. Just two I put up briefly. just because I was there and watched them. Cool, Ted Walsh's horse, who won at Leopardstown on the 28th, his last day there. He gets £6 for that win. Won pretty well. It was a tough old slog. The ground was a bit of a bottomless pit deck there. But Ted, I think, thinks a lot of this horse. £6, you have to make up your own mind if that hike is going to stop him here. 9 Graces back in. I got £4 for finishing third the last 2 times. And there too, I guess, they kind of spring to mind. But you're going to give us a 20-1 absolute cert here down the bottom of the ways deck.
Yeah. Look, it's fairly open. There's a few that have a chance. I'll just run through it. But Cool, obviously, she's very, very consistent. She absolutely loves her at Leopardstown. She won last March here, and she won again on the 28th. You know, it was difficult conditions, but like good, tough, honest mare. She got the £6, as you said. Farouk, actually got £5 that day. She's only got £1 more. He's not going to reverse the form. But look, I can definitely see her in the places. I'd say she's a safe each way bet. Canal End is very, very interesting. Good bit of money for him. He's had 2 runs since his maiden win at Fairyhouse last Easter. He probably wasn't off at Galway over 2 miles, and he'd gone and finished third at Navan then, and he reckons he might not have been off that day as well. He's gone up £1 for each of those. In here off 125. He's in the green and gold. He's going to be knocking on the door. You need to be wary of him. Fine Margin. It's very difficult to work this one out. He made his handicap debut at Haydock of 124. It was his first run for Willie. Now, if he'd have ran in Ireland in a handicap, he'd have ran off 115. You know, I'm kind of thinking, what sort of fun could he have with him running off 115? Crambo was a length behind that day. He's the great British hope for the stayers. He ran off 139. Gell Road was 3 lengths back, though. He ran off 140. So, look, I know Crambo is their stayers hurdle horse, but they're at nothing in that division over there. So, I'm really struggling to work out Fine Margin. Shambally Kid, it was his 3rd hurdle start in the Albert Barta, like a real attritional Albert Barta. He was 8 beating 43 lengths. He ran in maidens behind good horses. I just think this is probably going to be too competitive on his handicap debut. And the same as Sequestered, it's his first handicap. He's won twice. I just think while they'll win races going forward, they might need this one. But the one I've landed on is Black Bamboo, John Murphy's horse. He ran through the summer. He won an auction maiden in October. Owen McCarty had a nice horse that was second. Porsche's Price was fourth. He dotted up last week at Torres. He was 6th to Attaboy Charlie on the 26th. It's a race we've discussed on here a lot, and he was very keen on Attaboy Charlie there. And we reckon,
I heard.
There's going to be loads of winners coming out of that race. You can nearly follow it blind. He was only beating 12 lengths that day. I don't want any more rain. I want the ground to be as fast as it can get. And I think he's a great chance. You probably have the prices there,
25 to 1. 25 to 1.
Yeah, I'd be in a competitive race now. If we don't get too much rain, I'd be keen enough on him.
So there you go, strong shout, and that Attaboy Charlie form. I know you're a big fan of it, Andy. 25 to 1, Black Bamboo, John Murphy. What do you think about this? It's a puzzle here. It's a puzzle, but I mean that's a tempting price and a strong shout from Dec there.
Absolutely. Now I can see where he's coming from, and yeah, that is a race we talked about plenty. That novice handicap hurdle. Going back, that was won by the likes of Master McShee, and maybe we'll mention Attaboy Charlie in that same sentence when time goes on. We'll see. But no, Dec is definitely onto something. The 3rd placed horse that day as well, Park of Kings, who he done plenty. Like from September, October, November, 2 wins, then 2nd to a really good mare of Gavin Cromwell's at Gowran, and then 3rd again to Attaboy Charlie, staying on all the time. He's definitely a joker in this pack if he does get the run. Fruit Delane is causing problems because a good few of these horses could be out of the weights as a result of him running. So do just keep an eye on that. But he is slated on 9 stone 4 at the minute. So he could be 7, 8, 9 pounds wrong if Fruit Delane does run. I would suspect if Paul Nolan does run him here, look, he could be absolutely anything, stepped up to 3 miles for the first time. I imagine maybe they'll get someone like Aidan Kelly to take a bit of weight off to nullify him being out of the weights. Keep a very close eye on him. He might be in the red cap, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a few quid from him. And then Hugh, as you alluded to, Gair Quill, the mare, and 9 Graces. That Pertemps qualifier form at Leopardstown is usually the first reference point to look for in this race. Percival Lagawa won it last year after running in that Pertemps qualifier, and I think if you go back a few years, Tracy's Anascorti, I think he won the Pertemps qualifier and then went on to win this race. So it's usually a good reference point. And the mare for Ted Walsh, Gair Quill, I think she's very, very progressive, and as Dec said as well, loves Leopardstown. I think she's a cracking chance at around 10 to 1. She'll be placed for sure with a safe run around. So if you are, going off that race, her and 9 Graces obviously have 2 great chances. But I will be with Ted Walsh's mare, and if Park of Kings does get in, and if they claim off him, he's definitely worth a little bit each way.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with Ted's horse as well here. Great cool. I just love the way he battled, and it just wasn't an easy race. It was a typical kind of handicap at Leopardstown, and I just love the way he kind of dug in. And a 10 to 1, Great cool will do for me. So look, there's a couple of shouts at big old prices. Black Bamboo for Dec, and look, we'll see how it goes, lads. Look, not the easiest one to pick out, but at 3 o'clock. After all our bets come in, we'll have loads of money to pay for, so we'll see how we go with that. The 325 Paddy Power Irish Gold Cup. Look, obviously we have our top 2 in the standing here, lads. So Galopin Des Champs, who, by the way, is still entered in the 2.5 mile as well on a Sunday. So look, just to keep that in mind, we are recording Wednesday night. But we'd be absolutely shocked if Faster Slow didn't line up here against Galopin Des Champs. I am Maximus in as well, Irish Grand National winner. Conflated, obviously very consistent for Gordon Elliott, and then Cocoa Beach, who's the handicap hero, didn't run the Thyestes, but it's just been so solid over the longer trips. I think maybe just this is a class above. Galopin Des Champs 4 to 9 here. Andy, probably not a working man's price. Is that price disrespectful to Faster Slow, given that the last 2 times they've met, Faster Slow has won?
Yeah, I suppose when you put it like that, Hugh, it's what are we doing here maybe? But no, I think it's the market have it right. Galopin Des Champs was coming off a Gold Cup when they met at Punchestown, and I think they got racing a little bit early. I think it was with Rachel maybe on Envoy LN. Then there was Harry Cobden on Braidman's Game, and then obviously Paul Town on a Galopin Des Champs. They got racing. They got away from Galopin Des Champs at 4 or 5 from home at Punchestown, and I think they just got tired, found the hole. Brilliant ride by JJ Slevin. Dec, I won't take your thunder here. I know we were talking about Galopin Des Champs and how important it is to look at him in the parade ring before backing him. So I'll let you mention that. But we saw a changed horse in the Savills Chase, just about how they looked, and it's probably, maybe with A Plutar winning the Gold Cup, it's probably the best performance I've ever seen on a racetrack. What he did in the Savills Chase, it was absolutely sublime. You could tell them from the back straight. Dec and I were watching. I said, "This is all over." This is all over bar the shouting. And to go and win a Savills Chase by 23 lengths, ears pricked, doing his best work late. It was just absolute joy to watch. Look, Faster Slow is a very good horse. Don't get me wrong, and he did run in that 2 mile race last year. Probably it was a result of him not being a novice. He won a novice. He won a novice chase as a 4-year-old in France, and Martin Brazel put him in races like the John Durkin and the Dublin Chase to brush up on his jumping, get his experience. And Martin Brazel deserves an awful lot of credit for what he's done with Faster Slow. It's one of probably the best training performances I've seen in recent time as well. But all being equal, if Galopin Des Champs is on it and he shows what he showed last time out, he'll win this and he'll be brilliant, and I can't wait to see him again. Yeah, I can't wait to see him as well. Maybe not a betting proposition then, unless you think Faster Slow Declan is overpriced. Do you think he's overpriced? 5%?
Well, Andy was touching on it there, and this all comes down to what Galopin Des Champs turns up, and you'll be able to tell before the race, before you have a bet. If he's not on his toes, I'm backing Faster Slow. I think he'll beat him again. If Galopin Des Champs is on his toes, he was flat before the John Durkin, very, very flat in the ring, and he didn't stand out. And to me, he's a horse who's always stood out. He's a big, handsome horse. He's big, chiseled head, big ears. chest out, you know, he's dark, he stands out to you. He didn't stand out in before the John Dorkin. Now, he was in the ring with Appreciated, who was absolutely beautiful, like, you know, probably wins best turned out every time he turns up. But,
unbeaten.
Unbeaten in the best turned out stakes. But Galopin Des Champs, he's always stood out, and he didn't that day. And Andy ran up.
Paul Mescal we think Paul Mescal's very look. When he goes to Hollywood and stands beside Tom Cruise, he looks like an absolute mutter, you know what I mean? On his day, Galopin Des Champs is a good looking horse, but when he goes to Hollywood, like, you know what I mean?
When he's in there with Appreciated, forget about it.
Yeah, Harry, move on, next.
Right. Look, Andy ran up to me. Andy went down to see him in the ring at Leopardstown. He ran up before the Savills. He said, he's on his toes. And boy, Jesus, he ran like he was on his toes.
He's on a hoverboard.
He was doing the moonwalk. He's the only horse walking backwards around.
He was trying to back himself before he went out.
Olympics, he was gone. Eyes bulging, all that.
Yeah. Look, I think it comes down to that. If he's the horse that ran at Cheltenham the last 3 times, nothing beats him. He's probably the best since Cato Star, and he's quite similar in a way. But Fast or Slow has beaten him twice. You know, he's not getting the respect he deserves, and he's probably never going to get it, because if Galopin Des Champs is back, if he's the horse that turned up at Christmas, I don't think anything lays a glove on him. Like Conflated, he's going to the cross country. I Am Maximus could be the fly in the ointment if the other 200 performed. He's clearly not well in the head. Jody McGarvey will probably take the ride. He must be a horse psychiatrist. He could run a big race, but the only problem is it's going left-handed again. He needs to be going right-handed. I Am Maximus could be a bet. If he doesn't go to Cheltenham, he could be our bet for the Punchestown Gold Cup, because the rest of them will have danced every dance, and he'll be going right-handed again, and he could be fresh. It'll be a long time now, a couple of months before I can get an Andy Post bet on that, but if he does turn up there that day, I'll be back in the book. Look, if Galopin Des Champs is on his toes, and you back those sort of prices, back him. If he's not on his toes, have a go with him.
Yeah.
You know, don't be afraid to have a go with him if he's not on his toes, because I think they tried to quieten him down to get the trip, but he stays. He won a 3-mile Grade 1 novice hurdle. He has no problem with stamina. I always thought it'd be very, very too hard on himself to win a Gold Cup, but he won it. There's nothing wrong with this horse being buzzy. He's not doing any harm to himself, and he's buzzing around the ring. So it's what you want to see. You want to see him on his toes.
Yeah, absolutely. And just on the record, for what it's worth, if either Grey Cool wins or Galaconte, I'm going to put a cheeky tenner for a place on Cocoa Beach at a wild price, just because I love the horse, and like I don't, all things being equal, he's no chance here, but like he could be 80-1. I'm just going to have a little tenner on it to place, and only be 2 places here, just for the crack to see what kind of a race he wants, because I'm loyal to the horse, and he's won me a lot of money. So
I do think he's a top class handicapper, and to see him turn up, and when horses get exposed, it becomes really, really difficult. But to win the Tri-Town again this year, credit to the horse. You'd love to own him.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you? Like just the definition of consistent, hard as you like, an absolutely brilliant horse. And listen, we'll see how he gets on here. I'm not expecting anything, but sure, look, it might be a free bet, depending on how the day goes. Okay, that's the Gold Cup, lads. The 410 is the Reiner Handicap Chase. So it's over 2 miles won, 19 entered here. And again, it's a bit of a puzzle. Final orders won this last year. Dec of 11 stone 8. I think he's carrying 11 stone 9 going into this. He'll make an appeal for a few people who like this horse, and he does have a pretty loyal following. But there's a few in here who are interesting. How do you see this handicap chase?
Yeah, well, Gavin also runs Pat de Rue, and the races, it's really revolving around the race at Christmas at Leopardstown, where Pat de Rue came down. I don't know, would you call it an unsea or a fall, or fall's harsh? I don't think Keith would like it to call it an unsea either, though. But he bumped into the winner in more ways than one, and he came down at the last. He was coming with a run, whether it was a winning run or not, I don't know. He's up £4 for that. He's ran a fine race in the beginner's chase since beaten behind Hunter's Yarn. Folks, Tiara won the race, up £6 for winning. Well held by Solness before that at Fairyhouse though, and Solness is the one I'm landing on, because I'm just going to, like, the big chap is in there as well, actually, who was a length and a quarter second to Folks Tiara, gone up £3. I think the big chap is going to improve. I can, out of the 3 from the Leopardstown race at Christmas, I can see the big chap finishing ahead of them, but I'm just going to take a different angle to it, and it's Solness. He's only a 6-year-old. Now, I know Connorstone Walsh took the 5 off that day. I'd imagine he can keep the ride if he wants, but Gavin has 2 in it. Will he ride?
Right, fine.
We just mentioned you.
Orders, yeah.
But Sean Flanagan could take the ride. But Solness won at Fairyhouse off 138. He's up £9. That was his first handicap. He beat Fighting Fit by 6 lengths. Very good yardstick. And Don't Go Yet, who's in here, was 8 lengths behind. But look, this horse is definitely going to improve. That was his first time in the handicap, and he's only a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
So I think he's the one to be here. And I'm gonna get away from that Leopardstown form that the races revolve around. I do want to give a mention though to the Raider. Sophie Leach is bringing over Madara, and I think James Reevely is going to ride this. Sophie Leach obviously sends a lot of horses to France, and this horse, I might have won a heavy ground chase at 3 years of age in France. Has had 3 runs for Sophie Leach. One at Cheltenham off 130. That was the British mark. In here off 133. So look, I don't know enough about the horse to put it up, but could definitely be a danger.
Okay, so Solomon's main shout for Dec at time of recording Wednesday night at 7 to 1. Yourself, Andy, how do you see this one?
Yeah, competitive race, goes without saying.
Yeah.
Look, Madara would be a great result for racing, because we might actually get a few more Raiders coming over, which would be brilliant.
You listen to Nicky Henderson, yeah,
exactly. There's so many horses over in the UK that would have been suited to this race, and I just don't understand why they don't. Like, I think there was a horse that used to always come over here, Simply Ned, and I know that was the great one. But
did he beat Footpad that time? I think I had about the 2 mortgages on Footpad. Where was this?
Yeah. Absolutely. But I think a horse in those colours as well went very close to winning this race a few years ago. Was 2nd or 3rd to maybe a Wave of the Sea, who won this race a couple of times for Joseph O'Brien. Final Orders, as you said, Hugh, did win this race. I have a hunch they're working back from the Topham Chase. He was travelling really well in that last year and fell in it, I think, at Valentine's. I think I backed him. That's maybe the way I remember. They've campaigned him in the UK to probably make sure that his mark actually drops, because, with that bloke over there, you just never know with the Irish handicappers. But I think they're maybe working back from something like the Topham Chase with him. I'm opposite to Dec here. I'm of the opinion that Pat Daru would have won that race at Christmas, and I think he'd have won quite easily. Keith was just kind of cajoling them into the race, and it was really freak. It was a freak accident, really. He kind of jumped into the back of the winners, but Dec said they almost had their legs tangled. The winner was lucky not to come down. But I do think Pat Daru would have won that race, and it was his best run in Beginners Chase company. He ran a good few beginners chases, looked like he almost hated fences, but we see him with Gavin Cromwell time and time again, with Bride's Hill, with Jeremy's Flame. We see horses that just do not look like naturals over fences, but after time and after experience, they do get the hang of it. And I think this horse fits that mould, and he seems to be the worst kept secret in Ireland at the minute, because I'm seeing 7-2, 4-1. He wasn't that this morning. It looks like he could go off a very warm order, and I do think he's the one they'll have to be.
Lovely. The strength of LSD in the UK with the English handicapper is sweet to believe. I was thinking of that last week as I was watching Any Second Now, who I think, what was he, 166 or 167?
Yeah, gold cup standard.
And honest to God, whenever that is spoken over there, we may go over and have a session in that. Jesus.
Send over 2 of them.
He had, what was it, Easy's Land? Remember, he won the cross country as a 6-year-old or something. He was nearly off 170 or something to go in the Grand National 168.
They're trying their best. It's not really working, but anyway, they keep trying. The last on Saturday, then, day 1 of the Dublin Racing Festival, is the Grade 2 bumper. Now, look, I have an anti-post bet with a dream to share in the Supreme Novices, which is not going to happen. We don't really know what's gone on here, lads. He was obviously unbelievable last year, won everything in sight. I don't know whether he can't jump a hurdle, Andy, or whether he won't, or whether he's had injury setbacks. We're not really sure. Either way, he's ended up in this Grade 2 bumper here, and he's even money at the moment. Probably on the day, maybe I'll wait and see how I feel about this, but it could be one of those, if you're having a bad Saturday, just lump in, try and get your money back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I kind of put on my tinfoil hat about this guy, Hugh, at the start of the season. So I had a bit of a theory. He's by Muharar out of a Galileo mare, very much bred for the flat. Yeah. Now, I was mugged off a little bit by Burdett Road, who I know we were talking about at the top of the show. I said Muharars probably can't jump. He won a Commonwealth Cup. Obviously Burdett Road is by Muharar, and they do tend to stay well. But what never sat well with me was he's a half brother to a really nice horse that Joseph O'Brien trained called Raise You, who I think won a Curragh Cup and won some listed races over 10 furlongs as well. Really, really nice horse, and would have been an absolute ideal candidate to go hurdling, especially from that yard. And they never, ever, ever went near hurdles with him. His full brothers in the yard as well, called Liberated Light, of a much lower level. Doesn't jump particularly well, but is probably well handicapped. So if anybody's listening, stick Liberated Light in your tracker for a low grade handicap maybe. I have a theory that this guy probably just jumped like a combine harvester, and they're just afraid to go hurdling with him personally. And that's why they're rocking up at this Grade 2. Look, on last year's form, he's the one they all have to beat, goes without saying. But I just don't like these graded bumpers. I'm a broken record. I don't think there's a place for them. I think all these horses could like run them 1 or 2 bumpers and should be hurdling by now. Like there's 6-year-olds in here that be rising 7 by the time they go over hurdles. I just think it's a waste of time. But look, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to try and find winners. So the one I did come down on, Hugh, was Jeroboam Mashin for Emmett Mullins. I was really, really impressed by this horse's debut at Fairyhouse. He absolutely destroyed DB Cooper, who unfortunately is no longer with us. He went wrong at Fairyhouse on his next start, or his 2 starts later, but which was a real pity. But I think that's a real high level of form. DB Cooper, in his 1 completed run over hurdles, was I think beaten about a length and 3/4, 2 lengths by no flies on him. The 3rd placed horse, Ascending, rated 133, and there was nothing to suggest he didn't run to at least that. So taking a line through DB Cooper, who's probably a mid 130s horse, over hurdles in his very small sample size, this horse I just absolutely destroyed him. And people say he's maybe slow because he came off the bridle and had to kind of get by him. In my opinion, that was just greenness, and he just beat him easily. And I just think this is a proper horse, and he's being disrespected in the market at the moment, coming out of these colours. Look, you'll probably know before the off. Look, if he's a 20-1 shot in these colours, you can probably just tear up your ticket.
Yeah, Paul Byrne, Fitzwilliam Sports, for anyone. Obviously, you're a very shrewd operator, so if they trip like a barge, maybe just hold on to your
absolutely. But if this thing goes off 7-2, if there's a bit of confidence throughout the day about this horse, I'd say they know what they have here, and I suspect this is a very good horse. And I'd be pretty sweet in them, actually, to be honest with you.
Lovely. Strong shout for Jeroboam Mashin then, in the colours of Paul Byrne. Trained by Emmett Mullins, 8-1 at the time of recording. Dec, how do you see the bumper?
Look, first of all, I agree with Andy on graded bumpers, and we could probably have a podcast dedicated to that alone. We could rant for hours about graded bumpers and the damage it's doing to racing. Secondly, I agree, a Dream to Share probably jumps like a Triceratops. We were saying that all season. I think the fact that we didn't see him early season is because they couldn't get up the jump. Now he's an absolutely brilliant bumper horse, clearly, and he's worthy favourite, I suppose, even though he hasn't been seen since. Yeah,
maybe race fitness might be an issue. Like, he hasn't run all season.
Yeah,
so
but like, he's such a good bumper horse. He's a flat horse. He is a flat horse.
And the turn of footy shows. If the ground is anyway good, Dec, he just fucking turn it on again. Like.
Yeah, absolutely. But I fully agree with Andy on Jeroboam Mashin. Andy's covered it really, really well. There's not much to add. I think you'll see a massive punt on him, and he probably goes to Cheltenham in different colours.
Wow. JP?
Well, You know,
not our colours, lads. Anyway,
definitely not ours. No,
which would be light green after we don't have any winners on the Saturday. But
look, we often say on here, you like that trainers are creatures of habit, and you know we tip up the same trainers' horses for. Now it's not that easy, lads, right? So we're not giving that away. But, you know, we've been watching this for a long time, and you can follow the trends, and you know that's one trend you can follow. Paul Emmett Mullins trains a horse for Paul Bourne. He's really, really good. He goes to JP and he goes to Cheltenham and
what was another horse that won it was first time in Open Country? What's that?
The Shunter, was it?
Yeah, Shunter. And then what was the horse over fences?
Fernilly.
Yes, Fernilly. Yeah. Jeez, there's a habit there. There's a nice line.
Corbett Cross as well.
Yeah, Corbett. Yeah. So look, I mean, I can see the case, but look, that's two big shouts there for Emmett's horse in the bumper. German Machin 8-1 Wednesday night at the time of recording. I'm going to stick with a Dream to Share. I think if he's anyway right, he just probably has a turn of foot, lads. And I know even when he's short, but he was so good last year.
Glad to see we're back to normal now. Anyway,
yes, exactly.
You know, I was on the short place favourites.
The universe is righted itself, lads. We're right again. Before we wrap up Saturday, just going to get your nap of the day, lads. I'll kick it off. I'm going to go with Gaelic Warrior to beat Marie Nationale 9-4. I love this horse. I still can't believe he got beaten in the Boodles. Jesus H. Christ. But I'm going to go with Gaelic Warrior. Different animal over fences. Jumping not as pronounced as it was. 9-4 for me will do. Andy, your nap, please.
My nap. I'm going to stick with the last race, Hugh. I did think of Pat Theroux and Gaia Quill, but no, Jeroboam Machin. I'm going to trust that they have a good one here. In the bumper,
Jeroboam Machin 8-1 for Andy. And Dec?
Look, I'm struggling to split Jatara and Black Bamboo, but I suppose the fact that I know Jatara is going to run will have to be me nap. But you know, so if Black Bamboo was definitely to run, I think he needs, you know, on the ground. It's too far out to tell. So I'll just go with Jatara for me nap.
Okay, brilliant. Gentlemen, that is Saturday at the Dublin Racing Festival. Thank you so much for listening. We're going to record in a matter of moments Sunday's preview as well. So do tune in for that and the Take a Pull podcast. My thanks to Andy and to Dec. All right, talk to you soon.
Yes,
cheers. Bye bye.